Yo, what's good, family, man? I just, I don't know about you guys, man, but that weekend seemed super long, and it was like Monday couldn't get here fast enough, man, so I could connect with you guys, man. I'm looking forward to our Zoom meetings this week. Hopefully, all of you guys show up, and we could just have a good time seeing each other's faces and, all that kind of good stuff, man. But we are here in week 5. And we're starting some new stuff. So I'm going to encourage everybody, man, to check out the video because I'm going to be, kind of processing the information. Again, the questions are there for you to do as many times as you need to. And I really do want to appreciate those that I notice that might miss one or two that's going back and redoing it. Because the more you do it, the better you'll get at it, man. And I really do appreciate you guys. Like I say all the time, I have the best 6th graders in the world. So, anyway, let's go ahead and jump right into it, man. This is a little different format today, as you guys can see. So hopefully it comes out okay. This is my first time trying to experiment with the columns and rows. So we'll see how it comes out. All right, so check it. Number 1, right? We've been doing this for a little bit, so we kind of understand it says 5, and that little dashy thing says to the 2nd power. So we're going to write 5. And again, I encourage you guys to write the question out on paper so you can just, kind of figure it out. 5 to the 2nd power times 4. Okay, so any number raised to a power, right, is that number times itself that many times. So in this case, we have 5 to the 2nd power, which is going to be, we just write it out. I'm not going to do this for everyone, but we're just going to write it out for this one. 5 times 5 plus 4. Okay, so that's what that really is. All right, so we know 5 times 5 is 25. And then we say 25 plus 4. That's going to be 29. All right, with this new little match kind of box system, we check it and we check 29. I hope that comes out right. I don't know, but we'll see. So that answer should be 29. Okay, number 2. Number 2 says 2 to the 4th power times 5. So 2 to the 4th power times 5. And again, I'm not going to write it out, but if you need to, write it out, like 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. So we know that 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16. So now we have 16 times 5. And we could do our math on that. We know that 5 times 10 is 50, 5 times 6 is 30, 50 plus 30 is 80. So 16 times 5 is 80. And we should see that there, and we check that accordingly. Okay. Number 3. All right, moving right along, you guys. So far, so good. Number 3, we're going to see that we have 3 times 4 to the 2nd power. 3 times 4 to the 2nd power. So we know that 4 times 4 is 16. So we're going to write that 16 times 3. And just like we did, 3 times 10 is 30. 3 times 6 is 18. 30 plus 18 is 48. 48. So we can go ahead and check that one off appropriately. All right. So far, so good. Number 4. And again, man, with the video, you could pause it, you could stop it, you could replay it as many times as you need to so you can understand if I'm moving a little bit too fast. All right. So number 4, we have 20 plus 2 to the 3rd power. 20 plus 2 to the 3rd power. So 2 to the 3rd power is 2 times 2 times 2. So 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. So that's 8 plus 20 is going to give us 28. 28. And we can check that off appropriately. All right, number 5. We are moving right along, you guys. Nice work. Number 5 says we have 9 and then times 2 to the 1st power. And remember what we talked about when we were still in the classroom. Any number raised to the power of 1 is like saying that number times 1, right? So in this case, we have 2 to the 1st power. That's simply going to be 2. Okay, so always remember that any number to the 1st power is always the number. All right, 2 times 9, and that's going to give us 18. All right, so these are the responses we should have for the first section. Okay, All right, let's go ahead and scroll down here, and we're going to do kind of the same thing for number 2. Sorry guys, this video might be a little longer than what we're used to, but that's what we're going to have to get into from now on. So, all right, anyway, for this one, number 1, for the second part, so we're going to just say number 1 here. It says that that is 1/3 times 3 cubed. So if we write that out, 1/3, right? We can put that in parentheses if we want, times 3 cubed, okay? So we can go ahead and do the 3 cubed first, and we know that 3 times 3 is 9, times 3 is 27, okay? 27, and then we still follow the same practice that we did. Any number by itself, especially when we're dealing with fractions, is always over 1. So now we have it like this, 1/3. And you guys know what my favorite thing to do is, what? That's right. Hopefully you guys were saying or thinking cross divide or cross cancel or simplify, right? And so we cancel that out. 3 fits into itself once, into 27 9 times, and then 9 times 1 is 9. So the final answer is 9. Okay? And we see that there, and we check it appropriately. All right, I'm gonna turn my paper over. Okay? All right, so now we're looking at number 2 for that. Number 2 for that is going to be 9 times 3 to the first power, right? Or 3 to the power of 1. And we know that's 3 to the first power. So we simply say 3 times 1 is 3. 9 times 3 is 27. 9 times 3 is 27. And so we see that, yep, and we check that off appropriately. Number 3. Number 3. Did I ask you guys how you were doing? Sorry about that. That was kind of rude of me, but I hope you guys are doing well. I know this is kind of poopy that we're still in this situation, but we're going to make the best of it. Just know that Mr. B is praying for you guys, man, and I miss you so much. Anyway, number 3. It says we have 8, right? 8 times 1/2 to the second power. Okay, so what is a fraction? Is still the same thing. It doesn't matter. We're 1/2 times 1/2 is 1/4. So we say 8 over 1 times 1/4, right? Because 1/2 to the second power is 1/4. And then we do what I love to do, simplify, and that's going to give us 1, and that's going to give us 2. So our final answer is 2 there, and we see that, yep, and we check that off appropriately. Okay, excuse me, sorry about that. You guys know how I sniffle sometimes, pretty gross, but anyway. Number 4. Number 4 says 20 minus 2 to the 4th power. And what is 2 to the 4th power? 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, right? And we know that's 4 times 4, which is 16, right? So 2 to the 4th power is 16 minus 20. 20 minus 16 gives us 4. And we see that, and we check it off appropriately. Very good. Number 5. Number 5 says 2 times 6 to the second power. 6 to the second power. So 6 to the second power is, very good, 36 times, and you guys are probably like not even saying along with me. That's all right. 2 times 36 is what? You guessed it. Good job. And so we see that, and we're all done. And so, yeah, there's more answers than there are questions. And I put that there purposefully so I can make sure that you're working them out just like I am, like this. And you should have all of those boxes checked. All right, so we're going to scroll down to this next question. So there's only 5 questions, right? But there's a lot of work that we're doing with these 5 questions, okay? And so this week I'm thinking about less questions, but more, thinking work, all right? So number 3 says, Andre says, I multiply 4 by 5, then cube the result. Select all the expressions that equal Andre's answer. So let's think about what Andre did, okay? Let's think about what Andre did first, right? And then we can figure out what they're asking us. So I am going to write this out. Sorry about that. Miss Paula just walked in. She says, hi, everybody, and thank you for your prayers. So she's feeling so much better now.
Thank you, guys.
Yep, thank you. All right, so I multiplied 4 by 5, right? And then cubed it, okay? So 4 by 5 cubed, right? So we have to remember that we don't want it to look like this, okay? Because it says 4 by 5 cubed. We don't want that because what is this telling us right here? This is telling us that 5 is cubed, not 4 times 5. So in this situation, we see that we have 4 times 5 is cubed because it's in parentheses. That parentheses is very important, scholars, and that's why this is completely different, okay? So remember that. So now we see that, and that is the second box that looks like we can check because 4 times 5 to the third power is in parentheses like that. So we're going to check that box. And then we're going to go ahead and work this out. We know that 4 times 5 is 20 to the third power. So in other words, we could say 20 to the third power, and we see that we could check that off. And then we have to solve it because it looks like 508,000. So what is that? So we're just going to figure this out. 20 to the third power, we know that 20 times 20 is 400, right? Times another 20 is going to give us 8 and 3 zeros. So it, sorry, 8,000. So we can check that off. So we should have these boxes checked. 4 times 5 to the third power, the one that's in the parentheses, and then 20 to the third power, and then 8,000. Those are all equivalent to Andre's answers. All right? Nicely done. Now, we're almost done, guys. We are almost done for Monday's session. I love it. Okay, so number 4 says, use the correct order of operations. Yay, my favorite. We're in order of operations now. So number 4, it says 25 minus, and then what's in parentheses is 2 to the 6th power divided by, remember that little slash right there means division, okay? Because you're going to see that a lot this week as we do our work. Division, so 2 to the 3rd power, right? Close the parentheses up, times 18 divided by 9 plus 6, okay? So we're going to do what we see first right here. We know that 2 to the 6th power, 2 to the 6th power is, very good, 64 divided by 2 to the 3rd power is, very good, 8 times, and then parentheses right here, 18 divided by 9 is 2 plus 6 minus 25, okay? Now remember everything else as we read from left to right. I'm doing what I see first, so I'm going to do this. 64 divided by 8 gives me 8 times 2 plus 6 minus 25, okay? Now as I read from left to right, I'm seeing what I see here. 8 times 2 is going to be 16 plus 6 minus 25. Now here, scholars, is where we have to be very vigilant in our understanding, very observant, right? So we see that it says, well, PEMDAS or BIMDAS, whatever we want to say. As I read from left to right, I see this. I'm not going to do 16 plus 6, okay? I'm not going to do that because the first thing I see is this subtraction. So I'm going to do 25 minus 16, and that's going to give me 9. Now I'm going to plus my 6 because as I read from left to right, I saw that first. 9 plus 6 is going to give me 15, and that is my final answer, okay? All right, so that's how you do that. Remember, as I read from left to right, okay? So the extension problem, the last problem, again, you don't have to do the extension problems, but the extension problems are supposed to be a little bit more challenging than what we've done before. So you don't have to do it if you don't want to, okay? But you should always try it. I mean, you know, you're only going to get better, right? All right, so last one, family. Here we go. So the extension problem is just like we did before as I read from left to right, and it says 5 plus, in parentheses, 2 to the second power times 3 to the second power minus 9, right? And then the division slash 3, okay? So that's what it should look like as we write it out. Now, what am I going to do first? What's in parentheses? I'm going to do what's in parentheses first, and then I'm going to do the exponents, which is 2 to the second power, which is 4, times, and then 3 to the second power is 9, minus 9, division symbol 3, plus 5. Okay? So you notice I brought everything else down that I didn't use. All right? So now, because it says as I read from left to right, I'm not going to do 9 minus 9. I'm going to do 4 times 9. Right? As I read from left to right, I do what I see first, and I see multiplication first inside of the parentheses. So 4 times 9 is 36, minus 9, division symbol 3, plus 5. Okay? 36 minus 9 is what? That's right. Divided by 3 plus 5. Okay? So again, notice here, remember we talked about that while we were still in classroom, like my little pyramid, reverse pyramid on both sides. Whatever I'm not doing, I just bring down. Now, as I read from left to right, I'm not going to do 5 plus 27. I'm going to do 27 division sign 3, because that's what comes first. And that's going to give me 9 plus 5. And then we know 9 plus 5 is 14. So my final answer is 14. Okay, that's what that should look like. All right, so again, look at the video as many times as you need to. Do the work as many times as you need to. But I don't want to stress you guys out, man. I just appreciate everything that you're doing so far. I really, really, really do. Just know that I miss you so much. I can't wait to see you online during our Zoom meetings. Our Zoom meetings hopefully are going to be fun and engaging and exciting. And I just can't wait to see you guys. So Thursday's lesson, again, is going to be a little step up. We're continuing order of operations, but we're also going to be talking about negative numbers as well. Okay, so look forward to that, man. And again, keep working hard. Know that Mr. B misses you, and blessings and love from my heart. All right, peace out.